So, here we are again in studio at the Casa de Pickle.
Yes. Studio Pickle.
Yep.
Yes.
And, well, let me tell you what I've been up to.
Okay.
We can start with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of see where we are with things.
Yeah. So, the other night, could be any night, but it was the other night.
Yeah.
I was messing around with I have like a tiny, it's like a 3-pound sledgehammer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to dislodge. I got a new treadmill, so I was trying to. It was kind of rickety or something like that. It was like wedged the wrong way, so I needed something heavy to smack it, right?
Right.
And it worked, but man, just swinging that thing, and I didn't really swing it that hard. It was just so much fun.
Uh-huh.
So I started walking around the kitchen and just kind of like tapping on things. I was like,
with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
With the sledgehammer. Okay.
I was like, what's this gonna feel like when I start, And then I was like, well, this could work, but I don't know if this is gonna be enough. It's only like a 3-pounder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I want to start swinging a real sledgehammer, right? If I'm gonna do some real work, so I need to get something man size. This is like
right.
Like
yeah.
your little niece. She could carry this thing, right?
Yes. So you want a full size sledgehammer?
I want a full size sledgehammer. Yeah.
Which I think they're about 16, 20 pounds.
Actually, word on the street is that the Sledgehammer Black Market, you can get one that weighs 100 pounds.
A 100-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And are you going to acquire this sledgehammer and then go back to your kitchen?
Yeah, I'm going to start saving up right now. It's probably like $40,000.
I can't imagine it would be that, but
it's
why?
It makes me think of, back in days of yore when the Scots took the field of battle, and you had one man that was just head to toe in plate metal, and he just had one huge sword, and he would just swing it. It's called the claymore, right? He would just swing the sword, and whoever got in the way, sucks to be them.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna claymore my kitchen.
It sucks to be your kitchen, is what you're.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, the movies have it wrong. Can I bring you back down to earth on this one?
You might. You know what? I might be too far gone. I think I've already bought it. I'm kidding. No, I didn't buy it. But
that's fine. Let's go. Let's. Okay. I love the idea.
Okay.
Right, 100-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah.
The poor kitchen. That's all I'm thinking about. Your poor kitchen.
See, that's the thing too. Like, I need new floors, so I don't have to worry. Because when I drop that thing,
it's gonna go straight.
It's gonna go straight through the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mind.
I want to say if you throw it straight up, it'd go through the roof, and you could just go ahead and do that. But you may not be able to throw it straight. I don't know if this is like a Thor situation or.
That's what I was thinking just now. If I threw it up, I would go with
it. Oh, okay. Well, since you're having this inclination to completely destroy your kitchen with a 100-pound sledgehammer, let's make this the topic of today's show.
Okay.
Let's do this, and let's try to plan demolition in a little more structured fashion.
Is this some sort of like kind of a veiled intervention in a way? Like your wife has talked to me about how she's afraid about that your house might fall down.
It could be. Yeah. Somebody's scared for somebody, so they're like, you know what, let's call in some reinforcements here and do something else.
Got to DIY. Oh, baby, you know why. Well, if you got the time, I'm gonna give it a try. But before you start, we got advice for you all. If you got to hammer, then you got to saw. Baby, please, don't look out that wall.
that's a good intro. Welcome everybody.
Welcome.
Your favorite podcast. I believe roles are switched. I'm looking everybody to everybody's favorite podcast.
It's certainly mine.
Don't Knock Out That Wall. I'm Brandon.
I'm Matt.
Yes. And
we're here again to set the scene for this week's journey through DIY.
Through DIY, and the first journey of DIY is usually demolition. Everybody gets excited about Demolition Day. Yeah. Demolition Day is everybody's top thing. Mm-hmm. And you bring up a good point, because in all the shows and everybody saying demolition, what do they do? They bring out the sledgehammers, and then they just go crazy. And depending on what kind of show it is, if it's a show of just individuals, more than likely,
I'm okay.
Okay. More than likely, they're showing you things that you shouldn't do, and they're going to destroy something along the way.
Yeah.
With the sledgehammer, and the bigger the sledgehammer, I'm assuming the bigger the mess that you're going to make. Now, you go to the professional TV shows, and they do the same thing. They give the homeowners a sledgehammer, right? And you kind of only see one scene. Right? Don't they only make like one hole or knock down like one cabinet.
Yeah.
And that's
or a wall. It's usually just like a hole in a wall.
Make a hole in a wall.
And, okay, you're done. Give that back.
Yeah. Okay. Now let the professionals continue from here. Okay.
Do they normally, are they illegally obligated to put that at the beginning? Like, please do not try these things at home.
I would assume that they would. I don't know if I've seen many people say don't knock a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
It should be it sounds like a big liability issue.
Yeah.
To let somebody go to town on a show with a sledgehammer.
Maybe this is a niche we didn't even know existed, and we're filling that hole.
Maybe so.
We've saved so many walls.
Yes. Because you don't want to knock out a wall.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So you don't want to knock out a kitchen or a completely remodel with a sledgehammer, and only a sledgehammer. Sledgehammers can come in useful. They can be useful for some things. But, and this kind of goes along with a lot of things that we've been talking about in the past few shows, is I would say step one to a demolition is planning. We've been planning, we're talking about planning a lot.
Right, yeah.
So you plan a whole remodel, and you've got that, you've got the specs. We've talked about that, designing what you want it to do. Let's say you're remodeling a kitchen, and you've got the plan of what you want the end kitchen to be like, but you also need to divide everything up into steps. And the first step's going to be demolition.
Right.
Well, you need to plan that demolition.
Yeah.
Right? The next step is, adding or painting the walls, and you need to have a plan for that. So let's go to the step with demolition. Let's plan it out.
Okay.
Let's see what you need first. I would say you want to make sure, and because it's going to get dusty.
Yes.
Like you're gonna mess some stuff up.
Oh yeah,
demolition.
Especially, anytime. I was going to say especially, but it's just everywhere. If you start knocking out stuff with even the tiny hammer that I have, you're really gonna get a nose full.
Right. So let's say that you want to take the sledgehammer and just go to town on the kitchen. You're gonna have wood be crumbled up. More than likely, you've had a leak under the kitchen sink or something like that. So now you've got potentially molded stuff there that you're crumbling, and little particles are going through the air.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to take out the whole wall, or the sheetrock to the wall, and behind that sheetrock is insulation. So now you're tearing down insulation particles.
Yeah, you don't want to breathe that stuff.
Especially that pink stuff. That is horrible for your lungs. You definitely want to mask for that. So all the stuff is getting into the air and going into your living room, where you're going to end up eating and spending most of your time.
Yeah.
Because you're not in the kitchen anymore. So now you go in there and you've got dust particles and insulation and a film of stuff all over your kitchen. And all you had to do was prep. Do a little bit of prep.
This reminds me of my buddy Philip, if Philip's watching, he'll know what I'm talking about because he was updating me on his parents were renovating their house once. And they basically, from what I remember, destroyed one room to renovate another room, right? So they started basically working on the living room, and while working on that living room, another room just became filled with crap, and so that room became just, they couldn't use it, right?
Right.
And so it was counterproductive, really.
And so this is the thing you've got to plan.
Yeah.
Stick with the kitchen. You've got to take everything out of the cabinets, top and bottom. Where are you going to take those? How long is it going to take? And
and don't forget Hofstadter's Law.
Yeah, so it's going to take a lot longer than you think it's going to take.
Even if you take into account Hofstadter's Law.
Even if you take into account Hofstadter's Law. And if you don't get that reference, go back to 2 episodes ago?
No, it was last one.
Last episode?
Yep.
Yeah. And you'll see what that is. But so now you've got all the stuff in the kitchen go somewhere, and hopefully you don't put it like on your bed and be like, oh, this is going to take 10 minutes to remodel this kitchen. Let's just throw it on the bed. It'll be fine.
All right, slow down, Rook.
And then, and then you're screwed.
Nothing takes 10 minutes.
Right. So I guess what the big thing now is to contain everything in that room that you're destroying is what I'm trying to say. So if you've got a doorway or an open way into the rest of your house, you want to take some kind of plastic and tape it up and make sure that all the dust doesn't go into the rest of the house.
Right.
Also with any like vents, if you have any return vents or anything, you want to tape those up or just completely turn off your unit so it doesn't pull air into it and spread it through the rest of the house. Because it'll go through. Now you've got it going through your AC unit. And so your filters are going to be crazy dirty. And it's stuck there for years now. So
yeah, that was the same thing we had to do. I can post pictures. So we had to put plastic all the way around the kitchen because there's really no divide. It's just an open walkway in between our kitchen and our living room. Mm-hmm. So we put plastic all the way across that. Mm-hmm. And then we also turned off the HVAC system because there was so much dust. We were removing popcorn ceiling. And, again, nothing takes 10 minutes. So even though you got to scrape it off, after you're done scraping, you got to sand. And that's the part that's really grueling.
It's really dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sanding popcorn ceilings, even like if you're doing some kind of texture on the walls and sanding the walls or repainting, even painting, you've got the mist of the paint going everywhere. And you want to keep it contained on where you're actually doing the work. Mm-hmm. So plastic and tape are huge.
Yeah.
For sure.
We were doing this in the summer as well, and it was kind of rough. But it was usually in the evening, so we can open the windows and turn on we have an exhaust fan in the attic, so at least it's to try to keep the air going, even though we couldn't turn on the AC.
Right.
So yeah, it's a small price to pay, and
that's going to keep your ducts and everything clean, and it's going to keep the rest of your house clean. And
right.
Yeah, it's very important. That'd be a good step one, is to prep for all the crap that you're going to destroy.
Yeah, so this is what I'm thinking. If you have somebody who's enthusiastic like me and just wants to come in and start swinging, you might destroy something or have a friend destroy something that wasn't supposed to be destroyed. So that's one thing you need to know. I've been around a lot of demolition at work because there's been a lot of, in fact, there's some going on right now. They're remodeling the bathroom where I work, right in the lobby off of where I work. And so each time I see something like that, they either have like a big X, like in duct tape on a wall they're going to take out, or specifically written somewhere on that wall, don't knock out that wall.
Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. Very thorough about that kind of stuff.
And another point is, during your renovation, the one point where you're going to have as many people want to show up to help you is in demolition. Everybody wants to destroy stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have friends come over and help you with the demolition. So they need to be prepared and know the plan and know what walls to knock out or not knock out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've had a friend knock out a closet in a bathroom once.
Really?
And that wasn't the plan. It actually worked in my favor, but yeah, it was a project that was he was left to his own devices in the bathroom, and I was doing something else, and come in, he's like, "You want this out, right?" No.
We all have that friend.
Yeah, we've all got that. Yeah, we've all got that.
The wild card
that takes the sledgehammer. It's like, no, I don't want this little sledgehammer. Give me the 100-pound one.
I feel like it would be just as useful to just cover your body in like weights and plate armor and just turn yourself into like the Juggernaut, right? And then just ram into things.
Ram into everything?
It'd probably be easier than lifting a 100-pound sledgehammer.
It probably would. You'd probably get tired a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe. That kind of brings me to my second point.
Okay.
PPE. PPE. Personal protective equipment. Hang on. Personal protective equipment.
That's right.
Yes.
Which is, people didn't know about that until 2020, but we DIYers, I mean, it's
been around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, thanks to COVID, it was actually hard to find it.
Yes, that's true. So we did mention like everything going crazy. We don't want it in the ducts of your house. You don't want it in your lungs either. Mm-hmm. All the dust, all of that. So the proper mask, you don't want particles flying in your eye. So of course, safety glasses is a must. Mm-hmm. Gloves are always a good thing to have because if the sledgehammer doesn't remove it properly, you're probably going to grab something and try to tear it apart, and it's just going to, you get splinters or grab a nail by mistake or something like that. So gloves are always good. They actually make shoes that have a really thick sole, or like, I don't know, it's like really dense rubber or something like that. It's similar to, I don't know, it's on the like work boots that have steel toes.
Yeah.
But they have an underlayment that if you step on a nail, it doesn't go through the shoe.
Oh, that's nice.
So if you're redoing like a whole house or something and you think there's going to be a whole lot of nails around, that may be good to do.
Yeah.
If not that, at least shoes. Flip-flops or bare feet.
No open-toe shoes.
No, don't do that. You may not have to go steel toes and buy a whole new pair of really expensive shoes, because steel toes are pretty expensive. I assume that.
I don't think it depends on what kind of. Because I even have just some like muck boots that have steel toes in them, and I don't think they were expensive. They're just solid rubber.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would say yes. Go
ahead and go to steel toes.
Here's why. I'm just thinking, if you're like me, you're gonna want to kick some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to kick some stuff with steel toes.
That's true. Or if you get angry and want to kick something.
That's why I'm kicking it.
Yeah. Okay. I like to get angry and kick stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The steel toes are gonna help quite a bit.
I mean, demolition. Let's be honest. It's cathartic. Mm-hmm. If you really need to get, I mean, they have places now where you can just go and mess stuff up.
Take your anger out on.
Yeah. It's just like, they have. I don't know how heavy their sledgehammers are, but they got them. I'm assuming they have a wide range.
Yeah, they probably go from the small, random hit your kitchen on a random Tuesday night to the 100-pound ones. Yeah. Okay.
Part of that story was true, by the way. I want you to figure out which part it was true. Listeners and viewers.
The sledgehammer
story? Just guess. Which part was I telling the truth? It was like two truths and a lie.
2 truths and a lie.
Which part was just ridiculous enough for me, Matt Pickle, to do?
I think even if you know you, it could be either one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to do some research on that to figure out. Yeah. See what's going on. So yeah, equipment to protect yourself is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of what's next. Other PPE that might be needed. Knee pads. Trying to think of everything. Hard hat. I can't imagine ever needing a hard hat. Unless you're on a job where OSHA's around.
Yeah.
But your normal DIY is probably not. Still going good?
Yep.
Cool. So now you've got the place taped up and ready for a mess.
Mm-hmm.
You've got yourself prepped and ready for a mess. So now it's time to actually make the mess, right?
Yeah.
And I think anybody that's done a DIY project would agree that the right tools are needed. Now, this is the way to properly do a demolition.
Okay.
And if you're demolishing something... Demolishing something? If you're demolishing something... I don't know.
There was a raging scratch in my head, but I was just like, we're going to go with it.
That's not right. If you're demolishing something...
Yeah.
A sledgehammer and only a sledgehammer is not going to work.
Right, that's true.
Unfortunately. Now, think about it, because if you're... Okay, so one thing, the shows have it wrong with just completely destroying everything in the way.
Yeah.
Because it's not needed, it's not necessary, and it's not how professionals really do that. You want to take things off cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of reasons. Let's go back to the kitchen remodel. The cabinets, you can always donate somewhere that can be reused somewhere down the line.
Oh, yeah.
So either you can have them and, I mean, you can even put them like out in a garage or out in a shop or something like that and have these cabinets somewhere else. Or you can take them to, I don't know if Goodwill, but I think there's like a Humane Society takes a lot of equipment like that.
Yeah, or like Habitat
for Humanity, that's what I'm thinking of. They'll take it. And people that are doing, smaller remodels on little rent houses, or even people just wanting more cabinet space in their own house and wanting to add cabinets, will take the cabinets that you're bringing out. So you want to be careful with those. That's one way.
I'm definitely of the mind that, I like messing stuff up, but I also, I like to not be wasteful. If the cabinets are still good, you just want new ones. There's nothing wrong with you trying to disassemble them in a way that they can be reassembled.
Yeah, exactly. True story. And also the mess that it makes.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you have a single cabinet and let's say it's screwed in, if you were just to unscrew it, then you can bring that whole cabinet out and throw it in the dumpster. And that's good.
Right.
If you take a sledgehammer, and now you've got all these pieces, now you've got to sweep up everything. You've got nails, screws just scattered all around.
Mm-hmm.
And the place is trashed. And that's when you step on nails and really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Or somebody's like trying to pick everything up, and then you pick up a nail or a board with a nail sticking out or something like that. So it's really safe to demolish it? Yes. Now I'm questioning myself every time I say this, say anything. Anytime you demolish anything, it's safer to do it properly and, just take a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did I start? I've lost track of
So we're talking about
what I was doing.
Right. The
right
best way
tools.
to go... tools, right. Because you don't just want to wail with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Because you might... accidents happen. And if you start wailing with a sledgehammer, you might hit something that instantly, multiplies the budget of your project.
It could go through a window.
Yeah. A window.
Yeah.
A water pipe, then you're in real trouble.
Yes. Because water damage. Here we go again. I wonder, Has it been every episode that we've talked about water damage?
Really, it's very close, if not every episode.
Maybe we need to have a running total of how many episodes that we've talked about how water damage is horrible to houses.
Yeah, get DIYers get on it. We need to know the
little tally.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. But yeah, so sledgehammer is always a good tool to have, but you need the screwdriver, hammer is always good. If you have nails, you're gonna take them out with either a hammer or a crowbar, or you can just cut them with a reciprocating saw, or aka a sawzall.
Yeah.
Which is a really good tool to have because let's say you're ripping out the bottom cabinets of a kitchen, and if you get, and this is another thing that the shows have wrong, and you and your buddies want to see who can rip out a cabinet the best, or get all three of you, the guys just like, let's just rip this cabinet out of the wall.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the cabinet doesn't easily come out of a wall, and or whatever you're ripping out, and whatever it's attached to comes with it when it's not supposed to.
Yeah. Like the wall itself.
Like the wall itself. So now you've knocked down a wall.
Yeah. And what did we say about that?
Well, you don't do it. It's not what you're supposed to. Anyway. So instead, you can take a reciprocating saw and cut all the nails. More than likely, it's nailed. Cut them out.
Yeah.
And then easily remove whatever you're removing instead of like throwing out your back, or I can just see like tug of war, like 3 or 4 guys like tugging on something to get in. It finally breaks loose, and all of you just fall back.
They'll tumble into the other cabinet.
Yes.
Or through another wall.
Or through another wall. Now you've got 2 walls. Yeah. You've knocked down 2 walls.
Mm-hmm. And then the house comes down, and then
and then hopefully you're not recording it, and insurance finds out that
yeah.
You weren't being
smart. We were going to process your claim here, Mr. Pickle, and then we watched YouTube. We have to decline.
We have a clause about ripping out cabinets with you and your 3 friends.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of, you want to have the right tools, and you want to have the right equipment to remove things properly.
Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about demolishing.
Yes.
The demolitions with the right tools.
With the right tools.
And knowing what and being smart about the demolition, and not creating more waste and more damage that you then have to repair. Yeah. Other than outside of your, yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, like the biggest thing is, or a big thing is, when you rip stuff out, you're doing a whole lot of damage that needs to be repaired, and you don't really need to do that.
Yeah.
Another thing that the shows do is they completely gut everything. Like if you're doing a kitchen demolition, they take out the cabinets, the drywall, like everything comes out, and it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And so ripping cabinets out of the wall, you just got now huge holes that you have to fill that is not really necessary.
Mm-hmm. The cabinets have to be... Maybe we should talk about that. I've never done cabinets. Like installing cabinets.
Most of the older cabinets are going to be nailed to the wall. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what year they started doing the screws, but they're just screwed to the studs.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing specific about it. There's nothing like hardcore to take it out. If it is, I mean, you can open the doors or even take the doors off prior to taking the cabinet off, which I would recommend.
Yeah.
So you take the cabinet doors off, and then you can look inside to see if it's screwed to the walls. If it's screwed to the walls, all you have to do is just unscrew it. Make sure somebody's holding it, because once they're unscrewed, they can fall.
Yeah.
So make sure somebody's holding it, or you have a good hold of it. Unscrew it and then take it off. If they're not screwed, that means they're nailed. So you can just take a reciprocating saw and take the blade between the wall and the back of the cabinet and just go straight down both sides, and hopefully that will get it. Maybe you might have to do the top. And sometimes if they just went crazy with the nails, the sledgehammer is really all that.
I mean, yeah.
Sometimes the sledgehammer is just all that that'll really do it. So you can fight and fight trying to cut every nail, but sometimes you think the nails were on sale when they were building whatever they were building. And they're like, all right, this.
Oh man, I can't have nails left over.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it look like we didn't do any work.
Yeah. So,
Quick, the boss is coming. Get rid of these nails.
Yeah, get rid of the nails. He's going to see all of them and think, did you do anything? Yeah. So there's that. Also, I guess, even prior to doing that, like making sure you have the tools. So prior to actually doing the demolition, you need to beware of, and this is in your planning, are you going to be dealing with electrical or plumbing to turn electrical breakers off, to turn plumbing off, whether it's like, underneath the sink, to take that off, or, plumbing to the house or something like that to turn it completely off. Because if you're ripping out a bottom cabinet, especially with a sink, the people in the shows and on most videos, they just pull it completely out and the plumbing is still hooked up underneath the sink. So now that just rips it completely out and there's no telling where it's going to break. It could be luckily just right below the sink, or it could be in the P-trap, or it could be, something in the wall where it breaks, which is really going to screw some stuff up. And a lot of people don't know that there's plumbing and electrical going to your dishwasher. So that's something to, keep in mind, and you're going to want to turn those off. And usually the electrical going to your dishwasher isn't plugged in, it's hot wired into it. So you'll need to kill the breaker that goes into your dishwasher, and usually you'll have to go, there's like a little piece underneath the dishwasher that you can pull off, and there's another piece that comes undone to where you can see the actual wires to unscrew them from the dishwasher. Yeah. And then you can pull it out.
That's interesting. So, I don't think I knew that.
There's a lot of rules in different places. I've heard the good and the bad on both of them, but garbage disposals are almost always hot wired, and dishwashers are the same thing. And when I say hot wired, I just mean like it's a wire that goes directly from the electrical box. They go straight into it, and they just hook onto screws on the actual appliance. So
it's almost like a light
socket. So it's like a light socket. It's not plugged in. Yeah. And they do that because a plug-in, I've heard so many different things. Like the plug-in is going to be more than likely underneath the sink. Mm-hmm. So if you have a plug-in underneath the sink, then you've got water under there that is an issue. Yeah. Excuse me. And then if it is that, then it has to be a GFCI outlet. Mm. But even that doesn't really help when water's just like, if you got a leak under there, and I don't know, there's something else that if it is plugged in, it's got to be plugged in a way to where you can easily unplug it. So you can't take the dishwasher out and have a plug-in behind the dishwasher. Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of rules.
Recently I saw there was a plug-in underneath the sink, and us DIY guys that were down there looking around, they're like, "Hey, shouldn't that be a GFI?" Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I didn't realize it, but I think that was the first time I'd seen something like that.
A plug-in underneath it. Yeah. I've seen it too. I mean, some think it's the better way to do it because it's actually plugged in. You can unplug it safely. Yeah. That way you don't have to completely rip it out of the wall and then it rips out and there's a live wire there. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, that's if you're going to have a leak, it's going to be underneath the sink with all of that. I mean, you got the garbage disposal, so you got the water going into that. You got the water coming out of the dishwasher into the pipes underneath your sink. Plus, you've got the sink pipes. I mean, there's a lot of water that could go into that outlet underneath the sink. So,
this is random, but I have a memory from when I was a kid where my grandmother used to have to pull the dishwasher out from underneath the sink, to hook it up to the sink to run the water that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that was old school.
That's pretty old school.
Yeah.
Yes. To drain it out or
no,
to put water into?
Yeah, just to have water to run it.
Wow.
I think that was one of those things that my grandpa eventually got around to doing some of those projects, but I don't know how long it was like that.
Yeah.
Or if that was just because it was an older one
or
something. Because they were in well water, so there may not have been a water line to it. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, there's no telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And disposals and dishwashers, when you buy them, they're bought and the instructions are for you to hardwire them in.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to plug it in, you've got to know how to buy the components of a plug-in and make your own.
Yeah.
And kind of pigtail it that way to have a plug-in underneath it, because they're not made to be plugged in.
Yeah.
A mess. Yeah.
So don't go ripping stuff when you don't know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably, actually, you know what? I'm going to stamp that as the tip of the day, because I would not have thought about that. Of course, I'm not just going to me personally, I don't think that I would just yank the dishwasher out without even looking behind it. I'd be kind of curious. But, some people are like, all right, it's coming out.
Well, I mean, if you don't know, you think that, okay, it's kind of like a fridge, right? Yeah. You've got to pull the fridge out to be able to disconnect, to unplug it from the wall and disconnect the water. Mm-hmm. Maybe the dishwasher is the same way. So you've got to unplug it. And another thing you may not be aware of is the dishwasher is actually screwed into your countertop.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to open the door and unscrew it from the countertop from underneath it. So, if you're taking your countertop off, be aware of that, FYI.
Yeah.
But a lot of people may think that you've got to rip the dishwasher out to be able to unplug it from the wall and unhook the water from behind it.
Yeah.
When that's not the case. And you're going to unplug it and you're going to rip the cord out, which leaves more than likely a live wire underneath there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to rip the water line out. There's a good chance of doing that. So you're going to screw something up underneath the sink or the dishwasher itself. And then you're going to have water going everywhere. And you've got that live wire. Mm-hmm. And you're going to burn down the house.
Yep.
You're going to burn down your house.
Yeah. Especially if you're, you're probably going to electrocute it if you're wearing open-toe shoes like we told you not to,
mm-hmm.
And
yep.
And then you're going to get to heaven and they're not going to let you in because it's that was just a bonehead move. You got to go back to purgatory, wait this one out.
They had a clause in their contract to where if you're DIYing in a not the right way, it's not going to work out.
I don't know why I got religious on you there. You'll be fine.
Just don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't die.
I'm trying to get out of the hole that I dug, and it's not much of a hole, but sometimes you're like, okay, how do I get out of here? And it makes me think of Chief Wiggum in an episode of The Simpsons one time where they dig themselves into a hole to find treasure that's not there, and they're down deep in this hole. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we better keep digging to get our way out, right? And then you hear Chief Wiggum go, "Dig up, stupid." Yep. Classic Simpsons right there.
That's good stuff. So let's dig up into the next tip.
Yes.
Okay, so now you have a plan. You've got the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the right protection for yourself. You know how you're going to disconnect your appliances first.
Yes.
Make sure the power's off. Make sure the water's off.
Mm-hmm.
Disconnect the piping from your sink before you rip all of that out. Those are the main things. Like the dishwasher and the sink seem to just always be where people rip out the countertop and rip out that, and it just screws everything up.
Brief your help. Make sure that they know the plan. And they're not going to come in swinging.
Yes. So let's talk about midway into the demolition when you've got stuff scattered everywhere. You can be as clean as you want to, but there's going to be a time where there's a huge mess.
Right.
And you're going to want to be careful. So if you're knocking stuff out that has nails hanging out of it, like let's say you remove a board from some whatever and it was nailed in, you remove it, it's got nails sticking out. Right then and there, go ahead and take those nails out of that board.
Yeah.
Because more than likely you're going to take it, you're going to throw it in a pile with the rest of your trash or with the rest of whatever you're putting in there. And either you're going to forget about it or somebody's going to try to help you clean that up and they don't know that that nails are sticking out of it and somebody's going to get hurt themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like just be aware of it. It's going to take a little bit longer, like while you're doing it. But if you have a board that you're about to throw into the floor, into your trash pile or whatever, and it's got nails sticking out, take the nails out. Like just go ahead and be safe.
Yes.
Proactive with it because it will help in the long run. And try to clean up as often as possible.
Yeah. Clean as you go. I know that's a difficult concept for me, but it really does help.
I mean, a clean site's a safe site.
Yeah.
So
maybe if you have plenty of friends, depending on how many friends you have, you can have one person that's the cleaning crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's the broom. That's your job.
They may look at you weird.
Yeah. You might want to give the broom to the wild card.
The guy that's asking for the sledgehammer,
yeah.
Hand them the broom.
Yep. I want you to hold on to this.
Yes.
For a while. I want you to see what you do with this first.
This is your sledgehammer.
You might earn your way to the sledgehammer if you're good.
Turn around and he's hitting cabinets with the broom.
Or he's trying to get a spider and then knocks out a wall.
Yeah. See, it like knocks out the light.
Yeah.
Ceiling fan comes down. In which case you would want to immediately go turn off that light.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Flip the switch, flip the breaker, get the live wires taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Put him outside.
Yeah. Sit him down somewhere on the front porch or something.
If he can't handle a broom.
Yeah. This scenario has gone sideways pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Yeah.
You need the planning of the demolition also comes with the pre-screening of your help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this scenario went sideways, but this is not out of reach.
No,
it's
not
out of reach at all. Like we're not grabbing stuff out of left field like your death scenario from earlier, but the broom's real, people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, just kind of clean as you go, and that's going to be the biggest thing. And I want to say, even before anything and everything, is you go ahead and get a first aid kit.
Yeah.
And you have it handy. Because even if you've got PPE on, you're totally safe. Everybody knows the plan. Like, things could still happen.
Mm-hmm.
So be safe. Be prepared.
I have a friend that punched a blade one time. He didn't expect to do that. But, he needed first aid.
Punched a blade?
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics. Maybe he just because sometimes when people get startled, they go into fight mode instead of flight. They're just start swinging.
So got started by a saw?
Yeah.
Okay. Scenarios you don't think of that happen.
Again, I'm not making that part up. That was true.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. Like, you've got to plan the demolition.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be smart about it. I know that's not fun. It's not going in there and knocking everything out with a sledgehammer. But it's definitely the best way.
I mean, come on. Let's be adults, right? It is fun to mess things up, but as adults, we can see the big picture and know that even though we're going to have fun for a minute, the end result of that fun is, I sound like I'm not even a parent. I'm starting to sound like one.
Yeah.
But just think of the consequences, kids.
It's a lot of cleanup and a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've flipped a few houses. I've done the sledgehammer thing before.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I've been guilty of this. And then I've done it the way that I'm explaining it. And the way that I'm explaining it is a much better way.
Okay,
of doing
so we
it.
have real
I've got
application.
This is true.
Whereas someone like me who only dreams of destroying things with a 100-pounder sledgehammer. He's actually done it.
I've been on both ends, and I'm telling you, destroying everything with I haven't used a 100-pound sledgehammer.
Oh. Okay, well, it's close. Much closer than I was.
It's been a normal sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
But anyway.
Or what were you?
The normal sledgehammer?
Yeah. Which one did you just go in swinging?
I'm trying to think of which one that was.
Is there a lot of trauma involved in
No, there's not a lot of trauma. There's a lot of regret, There's a lot of like, well, this was fun for a second, but now this sucks.
Yeah.
A lot of sweeping involved after you do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of it.
It is.
Yeah. Nobody got hurt on that one, so we're okay.
So he was getting really quiet there. I was thinking, lamenting of all the lives that were lost.
Yeah.
I wish you hadn't brought it up. I didn't want to talk
about it. Exactly. I had to call my therapist now. Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of what I've got. I mean, on a whim of you talking about hitting your kitchen with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Not really on a whim. It's fun.
I was doing that, and it was fun, and a lot of it was just trying to get my wife's attention, but she wasn't paying attention, so I went to something else. That's a normal night in our house. Like, hey, look at what I'm doing. Oh, you're busy. Okay, I'll do something else. But I do have...
You should have had the 100-pound sledgehammer then. She would have paid you attention.
Yes, she would have. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, God!
Maybe you need to look into that a little bit more. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
What are you doing? Hitting things with a sledgehammer. See, that's so... It's so...
So we can go with one of the videos I had saved from before. This is a guy I haven't watched, but some construction pet peeves.
Ooh, yes.
Let's see here. I mean, that's
all right. So 1970s house. I did a full house remodel. A lot has happened. I've had several babies born into this house, and now 2 puppies, 2 dogs have lived here. So the house has taken a lot of abuse. But let me show you what I did. I really opened up this 70s house. It had a ton of walls. This was a rental house when I bought it, so it wasn't cared for very well. But there was a huge wall across here separating the entry from this family room space.
He's already the cardinal sin.
I don't like
And then there was a huge wall across here and back that was separating the formal living room from the formal dining room, and then another wall separating the kitchen from the living room, like that over. It's been
that does look pretty nice.
Yeah, that is better.
I love the open concept, but let's start here. Dumb. Concrete countertops. You know, I totally fell into this fad. It's been terrible. We've hated it, frankly. For us, and that's its downfall. You can put the most bomber, most expensive sealer on it. It's always going to break down. And if you look here, this is where we do our cutting board work. No matter how much I've sealed it over the years, it always needs resealed. Who wants a countertop that you need to reseal every 6 months or a year? I find that really dumb, especially for a family. Now, some people like the patina. I am not into it. My wife.
Well, you're supposed to reseal
Next house, my
granite
rebuild, we're going to be using a quartz
lot.
countertop.
Let's talk about that, because I don't know much about this. Is that something?
I don't know either, but I think you may have to fact check me, but I'm pretty sure once a year you're supposed to reseal granite.
Yeah.
Because it's a rock similar to concrete. So it's got to be somehow sealed.
So I guess it's just more of a work than he wants it to be, I suppose.
Him seal it, like
just having to reseal it once a year.
Resealing it all the time? Yeah.
How hard of a job is that to do? I mean,
resealing?
Yeah.
Not very hard at all.
I mean, is it just like a film you put on top, or like a epoxy, or?
Yeah, it's not even epoxy. It's basically like a spray or a liquid. It's less than waxing a car. Like it's not even that hard.
Oh.
Yeah. So
to each his own, I suppose.
Yep. He still doesn't like it.
Probably maybe a silestone. They make some incredibly beautiful countertops that are thoroughly impervious, so that when you take that sponge and do a wipe down,
I
that
think it looks
countertop
good.
looks brand new. And this one, no matter how much you wipe it down, dumb appliances. This is a hard one, right? Because most of America, we buy these kind of stainless steel mid-price appliances. I think I spent maybe $10,000 on this house for all of my appliances, maybe not even quite that much. And I got kind of a middle upper brand. Don't surmise. I'm going to try and block those out so you don't see what I've used here. But you know what? I've had 2 cooktops. I've had 2 refrigerators. The oven micro is the original, but that's it. And my washer and dryer have been probably fixed 4 or 5 times. And this is my second dishwasher.
So I guess what he's saying is that you need to spend a little more.
Is it the dumb thing was cheap appliances
I think that's what he's saying.
not really having appliances themselves?
Yeah.
I just wish that we weren't so focused on Energy Star labels and we were more focused on long-term durability. And could I buy an appliance that would still be working and would be repairable 20, 30 plus years later? This corner back here is usually a dead corner that most of the time...
Ooh, I want to see what he did with this.
I am in the same boat, yes.
Yeah. But check this out. This is from Hefele. They call it a magic corner. Some German ingenuity right there.
Yeah.
You've got full access to everything back there, and it's still almost 15
doing
years
that
later.
for sure.
I need to figure out what that is, because we've got the same thing, and I hate it.
Smooth operation.
Oh, you have one of those?
Sweet.
No. We have
we
have a dead space.
Yeah.
Dumb switches and lights. I've got a bunch of these fancy switch plates. I got kind of snowed by the rep for this company that was like, oh, I'll give you 30% off, and designed all these fancy ones with some fancy plates. I spent a bunch of money thinking, oh, it's 30% off, giving me this discount for my personal house. Thoroughly dumb. I should have just put regular white Decora rocker switches and maybe a screwless plate. I do like screwless plates. And I think in 2015 we did this. Check that out. This was just a recess in the wall, and my carpenters did a fantastic job. We've got a Rixson pivot door here. This door.
So I was getting excited there for a second. I thought he was about to bust out of bed, because that's what I want to do in our guest bedroom so bad. That's like, because I think about it so much, because like, when we have a kid, we're going to have this room turn into the kids' room. Mm-hmm. And so the other room is going to be our office and everything, right?
Right.
And so beds
Yeah, they take up
so much
room.
Yeah. And so I was just looking at that. And I was like, I want that for our house, just like some kind of a
little hideaway bed.
Yeah.
What is that? A Murphy bed.
Yes. So I'm gonna do it. By George, I'm gonna do it.
You should, because it's a huge space saver.
Yeah. Because I want to be able to do activities in that room.
Right. And they can make it to where like you can still have like shelves and stuff on the outside or the underneath or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pull it down and then there's storage underneath or like it's they got a lot of cool stuff for those.
Yeah.
It's, just a slab stave corridor.
That is still pretty cool.
We
though.
added some container storage,
I
shelving
like how
in
that's
there,
sort of
and then
hidden
to
away
dress
like
it
that.
up, I did
Hideaway
some
closet?
exposed
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be
Russian
another room.
birch.
Oh, really?
I thought he was going to.
We were both deceived.
Yeah.
Really well.
Closet,
Besides
that's
that, our
lame.
hose, by the way, this touch latch in here that you push and has 10 pounds of throw, that's a great piece. Sugatsuni now makes one, and speaking of those guys, I use their hardware and all these lift stays. Now, these are books that I'm not at every day, but isn't that nice that if you wanted a book, you could just lift that up and see what you got in one spot?
And just
My guys made these cabinets basically in the driveway.
Stuff like this all
and
the
again,
time where
I use
I'm
that
so
exposed ply.
like it just.
And man, this has been super durable.
It's like
With a Formica
what is it?
countertop.
What's the word? Without trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's like satisfying to me to see how well people, especially in these tiny houses, how well they use their space,
all their storage and everything that they have. Yeah,
it's like I'm, taking a sip of a really good drink or something, or I'm, I don't know, something that feels really good.
Yeah.
There. Anything that happens, we can wipe it right off. This has been a terrific room.
Nice.
Dumb vinyl windows. When I remodeled this house almost 15 years ago, there weren't many options besides vinyl and wood when you really wanted a custom size down to the, let's say, 1/8 inch. And I couldn't afford the fiberglass window that I wanted to, let alone they didn't customize back then. So I did a bunch of these vinyl. I do not like them. And this is one reason why I don't recommend them, because I've lived with them. Here's the issue, especially in Texas, the windows of mine on the front of the house that were bigger sizes, they would actually warp and move and change, so much so that in my daughter's bedroom, which is a pretty big single hung window, I couldn't get the lock to always work because the vinyl kind of bowed with the heat. Dumb plumbing. I really went kind of bargain on my plumbing to make
So countertops, appliances, and plumbing are dumb. I'm trying to figure out, I guess, dumb things that he did for these items, and not these items are dumb.
Oh yeah. I think that's what or he wished he had done it differently.
Right.
I'm interested in what he has to say here, because as we know, Brandon hates plumbing.
I do, and I'm interested too. But like, what do you install that is dumb with plumbing?
budget.
Yeah.
And these fixtures are what I would consider like production builder or spec house fixtures. They worked fine for the first, 3-4 years, and then I started having problems. And in fact, these are a replacement of those when, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago I replaced them, and these are dumb. I made the same mistake again. Can you believe it?
So really he's just complaining about
ago. Plumbing's a big deal, guys.
Him being cheap.
Yeah.
Actuations.
That's exactly what it is.
In my house, I have hard water, and my wife doesn't want a water softener. So as a result, my plumbing fixtures have been a mess because I used kind of bargain basement price fixtures. Had I used better fixtures, number one, I would have been able to get parts much easier, and I wouldn't have had problems. I've got a standard mud set shower. This is a fairly porous, natural material. This is travertine. But because it's a mud set and the travertine's porous, I've got this real thick kind of porous base in my shower. It never dries, and it's really hard to get the mold out of the cracks in the corner. I'm going to be doing a Schluter system in my new house.
Oh, Schluter.
Schluter system.
I have seen those when I did all the stuff
Type material.
in the all the research, all the planning I did for in there.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Schluter stuff.
So is that a name brand?
Yeah.
Or is that a style? Name brand?
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with that.
Yeah, it's a lot of basically kind of the underlayment. If I'm remembering this right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I watched a lot of those, especially people taking out tubs and putting in just the, and doing what they call a hot mop, which is basically just like tar on the bottom, Which I don't want tar in my house. I don't
that seems like a horrible, old school way to do it.
I mean, yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good.
I agree with you. That's what I would say too. It's unnecessary. You have to bring tar in your house. If you got a wild card.
Yeah. Tar's going everywhere.
Yeah.
It's burning everybody.
How'd you burn yourself? Making a shower, ironically enough.
Yeah. The water was turned off. It's okay.
All right, so my attic, this is probably my biggest disappointment in my 2006 Matt Rasinger.
He doesn't want an attic.
I left this attic traditionally insulated at the floor level, which means I'm in a vented roof cavity here. What a bummer. I should have changed this at the time. It was hard to do because I've got an attached garage. I would have had to separate the attic space from the garage space. I would have had to use some type of spray foam at the roof line, let's say. But all of these ducts up here in the attic, man, that's a huge disappointment to me. These ducts are, R8 ducts, let's say, but this attic easily gets to 120 plus degrees, 130 degrees maybe on a typical summer day, which means I've got 55-degree air running through these little thin insulated ducts with almost 100-degree delta. That's super inefficient, and that's part of why my bills are so expensive.
He needs more airflow through there.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
He needs to just punch some holes in that roof.
Yeah.
It's funny to me too that especially I'm more aware of it now that we talked about it on our show. But I don't really hear other people talking about it that much, and I feel like it's like the best kept secret,
Ventilation in your attic?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true. That's a good point. I've never heard anybody else other than our amazing guest talk about how inefficient it is to have your ductwork in the attic to where it gets 100 degrees in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Or really cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's good.
Yeah.
If you're in the process of building a house or going to try to build a house, Matt knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And not this, this Matt too, but
this Matt is learning from Matt
too.
And Matt. I'm learning, every Matt I know I'm learning from.
Seems like a lot of Matts out there know what they're doing.
We tend to be pretty smart.
I need to find a Matt that doesn't know what he's doing. Bring him on the show.
Yeah.
Sledge Hammer Matt.
Wild card Matt.
Yeah. There's got to be one somewhere.
All right. Well, that I think brings us to the end of our show today. And I'm glad you all stopped by. So if you feel like there's some demolition coming up, reach out to your friends and have them watch this episode, or they can listen to this episode. If you feel like listening to it, it's on the Spotify and Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn. What else do we put it on?
Yes.
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 If it's there, it's there. But again, it's on YouTube. Like and subscribe, and let us know if there's anything you want to cover. We would like us to share our knowledge on.
Mm-hmm.
All of our many years of experience between us. I say that. I've owned this house for about 3 years, but he's been doing this longer than I have. He's another guy I'm learning from.
We can find something to talk about.
Yeah. I think
we can express our opinions on whatever is sent in.
If I don't have experience, I at least have an opinion.
And is it really that's why you're here?
Found me out.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, I will send you the link below to all the videos we watched, plus the 100-pound Sledge Hammer, in case you wanted to check that out.
I do want to check that one
sure
out.
one
Yes.
or two of you are pretty stoked about that sort of thing. If you are, let us know how it turns out. Be careful when you start swinging it, because you want to keep everything intact and follow the golden rule, which is
don't knock out that wall.
Especially with the sledgehammer.
It'd make it easier, but it's not. It's still a bad idea.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
That was good.